Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages. It's that time once again. It's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and it is July 24th, 2024, and you're locked into Mild's Culture Plate. How's it going, folks? How's your week been? Sure, you could tell mine's been a little insane. My hair's a little messed up here. Try to keep it, try to keep it tucked in. Got a little flyaway hair going on. Um, Folks, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of been a rough one. First off, Rumble Studio just like completely shit the bed on me, and of course, StreamYard has raised their prices, so that's always fun. Bring that down. All right, and so my apologies if the show's a little less streamlined than it can be sometimes. But yeah, that's what's going on this side. So I kind of had to reformat my whole show to use StreamYard and fork over a bunch of cash that I wasn't planning on forking over. So yeah, they raised the price of StreamYard, and yeah, Rumble Studio just completely shit the bed for me. I tried to create the stream twice through Rumble Studio, and Rumble Studio created it everywhere, but then you couldn't open it in Rumble Studio. It just wasn't listed. So that's always fun. That's always fun. So we have an interesting show for you folks tonight. We're going to be covering a bunch of media narratives that are happening right now. We're going to go long. This is going to be a long stream because I want to catch Joe Biden's remarks. Apparently, he's going to be speaking to the nation at the top of the hour. And so we're going to hang on past an hour to hear what he has to say to the nation. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. There's so many things dividing our country right now, and some of it's going viral right now. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We're going to talk about some of the chaos happening in Washington D.C. We'll get into it all. But first, I want to welcome y'all here and thank you for showing up. Anyone in the chat, come in, say hello. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're watching. Let me know you're part of the party. And I'll go ahead and give you a toast and a shout out and show your message on screen. Wow. Finally finishing off this bottle of Union Horse Reunion Rye Small Batch. Going to be knocking that out tonight. Looks like it's now empty. We now have an empty bottle. Prop it there for now. So cheers and welcome to anyone out there. All right. Let's get right into it. First off, we're going to say, let me bring this up. We'll bring the I effing called it, because I effing called it. During the primaries, I said repeatedly that Nikki Haley didn't have supporters. There were no Nikki Haley supporters. People who were trying to vote for Nikki Haley, they weren't voting for Nikki Haley. They were voting for not Donald Trump. And, for further evidence of that, we have this story. Haley, wait, what the hell? What the hell's going on with my background? Let's go that red, white, and blue. There we go. Haley voters for Harris pledges to fight after Nikki Haley says cease and desist. So you have, here we go. Let's read this from NPR's Sarah McCammon here. A group of anti-Trump voters who supported former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley in the Republican presidential primary is responding to a cease and desist letter from Haley demanding they stop using her name in support of Vice President Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris and I are total opposites on every issue. Any attempt to use my name to support her or her agenda is deceptive and wrong, Haley said in a statement. I support Donald Trump because he understands we need to make America strong, safe, and prosperous. The Haley Voters for Harris Political Action Committee was formerly known as Haley Voters for Biden until Biden dropped out of the presidential race. The PAC, officially known as Pivot PAC, was set up to encourage former Haley supporters, many of whom expressed doubts about Biden and Trump, to vote for the Democratic nominee. According to its findings, it's raised nearly $400,000 in the past year. Most of that money has come from anti Trump groups. It did not spend any of those funds until February, with its first major expenditure coming with ads on Facebook on March 6th, the same day Haley dropped out of the race for president. A letter on Haley's behalf, attorney Michael G. Adams demands that the group stop any use of Haley's name, image, or likeness that implies her support for the election of Kamala Harris as president of the United States. Haley Voters for Harris said in a statement that it does not claim to speak on behalf of Nikki Haley or her views. There are many other like-minded Haley voters who also do not plan to support former President Trump in November. Our rights engage with voters and encourage them to vote for Vice President Harris, who, in our view, is the clear better choice for the country. We will not be suppressed, the statement said. There's the statement via their own Twitter or X account. In an interview with NPR, Haley Voters for Harris director Craig Snyder said the group's name is a factual statement of the way a lot of people feel and the way a lot of people intend to vote in November. After initially declining to endorse Trump, Haley ultimately backed him and delivered a speech at the RNC, encouraging her supporters to do the same. During her campaign, Haley told voters that Biden was likely to step aside and be replaced by Harris. Ambassador Haley's made it clear that she's joined the Trump train, and that's her prerogative, but the voters that voted for her are going to make up their own minds, Snyder said. Harris is expected to become the Democrat nominee after a vote early next month. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. You have Nikki Haley voters. And again, there are no such thing as Nikki Haley voters. These people were the anti-Trump vote. And this is my opinion of this whole news story. Then why the fuck are you using her name? I mean, obviously, you know what I know. You're using it as a defense. Nobody supports Nikki Haley. Why are you using her name? Like it's you would get more donations, you would get more backing if you just came up with a catchy anti-Trump slogan. Call yourselves Republicans for Harris or something. It would come across with the same message. Why do you need to use her name? Now, again, far be it for me to ever defend Nikki Haley's honor, right? That's not my intent here. I care none about Nikki Haley's honor. As far as I'm concerned, she's a war hawk and she just needs to go away. But this idea that you get to use someone else's name and she said likeness, but I have yet to see any kind of evidence of that. But you're using someone else's name to essentially pivot and raise money for someone else just because you have regrets that you backed them in the first place. And if you don't agree with Nikki Haley's pivot toward Trump, then why would you want to use her name? Why would you include her name in your organization? It makes absolutely no fucking sense. All right, folks. The next one's going to be rough. We're going to need to talk a little bit about this. There are plenty of other channels, and feel free to Google search for the name here. But we're going to talk about the Sonia Massey shooting. This has been a hot topic the last few days. A lot of people, there are a lot of videos online. I'm not going to show the video here. Feel free to go look for the video. It's an interesting video. You know what? No. Let's go ahead and watch the video. Let's go ahead and watch the video. I'll bring it up. We'll watch it. We'll watch it because I have too many things to say that require context. But I am going to cut the video before the tragedy happens here. Let's do this. Let's watch the video. This is a police encounter, where this young lady, this lady, was calling police to report a suspicious person outside of her home. And when police first showed up, the interaction was very, very friendly. And then all of a sudden, when she goes into the kitchen to turn off her stove, things turn deadly.
That make things so much easier. I just driver's license will do, and then I'll get out of your hair.
I want to show y'all my paperwork.
I will get your paperwork.
What paperwork?
Okay. I got some paperwork.
Well, just get your ID.
Well, let's get your ID first, and then
one task at a time here.
Okay.
Here, grab your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID, one task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
you can send that stack right there, maybe.
1 second.
So she's having problems finding things.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
And then she said, 1 second, she's going to turn off her stove. She's got a pot of boiling water over there.
Okay. Are you moving?
And then she just asked him why he's moving, because she's got the pan full of hot liquid and she's carrying it across her kitchen. Now, this is where things go crazy, because she asks him why he's moving. And I'll listen to his answer.
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from the hot steaming water, and then she repeats it to him, and listen to what she says next.
My hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
Rebuke you in the name of
You better fucking not. That's where
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And then listen to this cop here's response.
no, that's where I got. I'll fucking shoot you right in your fucking face.
I'll pew pew you right in your effing face. Right? Now, I'm going to try to pause this here in just a second. I'm going to unpause it for a split second, but then I need to pause it again. Because like I said, I do not want to show the violence on my channel.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the fucking pot.
Drop the effing pot.
Fucking.
And then she cowers behind there. And that's where I'm going to stop the video. The next few frames of the video, the officer walks behind the counter there and unloads his pistol into her face. There's a headshot. There's been testimony now that the officer said that there's no point in providing medical assistance because of the headshot. There was very little reason to provide medical assistance. It has come out that they then discovered she was breathing after that. So this is a tricky situation. And look, hot water, on the one hand, yeah, if you're a cop and you're afraid of a pot of water, you're kind of bitch made. But at the same time, scalding fucking hot water can blind, maim, scar. It can severely hurt you. And unfortunately, a lot of the self-defense arguments are, not just fear of death, but also fear of serious bodily injury. And if you go by the letter of the law, this is justified. If you go by police policy, this is justified. But at the same time, escalation after escalation after escalation in a matter of moments killed this woman. Now, she could be just flat out fucking crazy. I don't know why you would say something like that to a cop. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I don't know why you would choose to do that, especially with all of the Black Lives Matter narratives that black folks aren't safe around police officers, which, this story only adds to. Now, whether you believe the narrative or not, this story will add to the narrative, and it is. People are in an outrage about this. So, my question is, if you're that deputy, right? If you are the deputy named Sean Grayson from the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office in Illinois, if you're that deputy and you are afraid for your safety from a pot of water, in that moment when she ducked behind the counter, do you walk toward the threatening weapon, the hot boiling pot of water, or do you walk away from it? That's where I am on this. Is if he was so afraid, why did he run toward the threat? Now you could say, oh, because he's a brave police officer. Sure. But let me tell you, it's kind of hard to fling a whole fucking pot of water across a house. And it's kind of easy to dodge most of it. Once you do that, then you can neutralize the person behind the threat, right? Instead, he pulled his gun before she even really had a good hold on the pot of water and threatened that he was going to unload his weapon into her. He escalated the situation. Now, at the time, he pulled his gun and said, I'm going to effing shoot you in the face. I can't tell if she's being threatening or she's panicking, not knowing what to do. Now, this has been slowed down, and it does show that she does fling the pot of water toward the police officer at the end of the video before it gets unloaded, before she gets shot. The pan gets flinged, the water shoots toward the officers and onto the floor. But whether that was her intent or that was a reaction, it all happened so fast, you can't tell what the intent behind this situation is. And now we have this from NBC News. The deputy who killed Sonia Massey worked for 6 different agencies in 4 years. And he was fired nearly 2 weeks after he shot and killed Massey in her home. The former sheriff's deputy charged with murder in the shooting of Sonia Massey had been employed by 6 agencies since 2020, Illinois law enforcement records show. And twice he pleaded guilty to DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, before he began working in law enforcement, according to court records. He was fired last Wednesday, nearly 2 weeks after he shot and killed Massey in her home in Springfield, about 200 miles southwest of Chicago. Massey called 911 to report a suspected prowler. Grayson and another deputy who had not been identified responded just before 1 a.m. on July 6th. Grayson shot her in the head within seconds of demanding she drop a pot of water. Yeah, we saw that. Massey was black. Grayson is white. His employment history includes short stints as a part-time officer at 3 small police departments in Illinois and a full-time employment at 1 police department and 2 sheriff's offices. All of the agencies he worked for are in central Illinois. NBC News has requested personnel files from each agency and has received responses from 5 so far. Records provided by 4 of those departments do not include any complaints or disciplinary action. He was, however, disciplined by Logan County Sheriff's Office after hitting a deer with a squad car during a chase that violated company department policy. Grayson worked for Logan County immediately before joining Sangamon County. His personnel record from the agency also shows that 2 people filed complaints against him. A woman accused him of inappropriate behavior during an arrest, and her fiancé, who was an inmate at Logan County Jail, accused him of abusing his power and harassment when Grayson questioned the man in jail after the woman's arrest. Grayson refuted the allegations. They're both marked as unfounded in his file. His report said he left the sheriff's office in quote-unquote good standing. Let's see. He worked in Kincaid and Verdon Police Department. The chief said Grayson worked there part-time from February to May 2021 and was let go when he refused to move within a 10-mile radius of the village. He maintained his employment at Pawnee, where he was hired in August of 2020 during the entirety of his time at Kincaid, and had asked for permission to take the second job, records show. The department did not have any written complaints against Grayson and no disciplinary action. Let's see. Verdon Police Department said that his reasoning is unknown because it didn't receive a resignation letter. He just stopped covering shifts. Separation date was December 31st, 2021. Sounds like maybe he was just drunk and didn't show up on New Year's. Anyway, this is going to be pretty much okay. They're showing he pled guilty to misdemeanor DUI in 2015 and 2016. And then this is going to recap the body footage. Body camera footage showed that Grayson declined to render aid as Massey lay dying and discouraged his partner from trying to save her. The other deputy rendered aid and stayed with Mrs. Massey until help arrived. The prosecutor wrote in court documents adding that Grayson at no time attempted to render aid to Miss Massey. The fatal shooting has drawn comments from President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris, and the Justice Department said it is aware and assessing the circumstances surrounding it. Justice Department said it will continue to track the criminal case opened by Sangamon County State's Attorney. Now, again, I think this young lady's death was unfortunate. I do think, however, it's going to be within the law, within government policy. Do you think she votes Democrat, though? Do you think she voted Democrat? I'm not going to get into hating people for politics and wishing death upon them or anything like that. We've had a lot of that the past couple of years. And no, I'm just trying to come up with a catchy transition here because the lady definitely had some sort of mental issues. From the not being able to find her ID while talking to cops, to the strange reaction of Jesus Christ rebuke you, almost mocking the police officer being afraid of the water. Hey, we got Sanglan 86 over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome, brother. Good seeing you in the chat as always. Good seeing you. Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to transition to the election politics stuff. Yeah, the media narratives are coming out in full force. You've definitely have some sort of shift in who's funding and writing the media narratives behind the scenes, because now we have a few media narratives I want to talk about, and let's start with this one. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of outrage. I saw some tweets claiming that Donald Trump at one of his rallies said, they're going to call Kamala the first female president. And then he starts going on to call her a socialist, and he said, "No, we're not going to have a socialist president. She won't be the first president. We're not going to have a socialist president, especially a female." Like that. He said it like that. And they're trying to say he's sexist because he said especially a female. So we got that going on. But then all of a sudden we have a bunch of people clutching their pearls because J.D. Vance said this several years ago.
Saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And
they're clutching their pearls because J.D. Vance called them childless cat ladies.
So they want to make the rest of the country miserable.
Let's listen to the rest
of this. It's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it? What he's saying is,
okay, so you get what he's saying, right? You get what he's saying. He's saying you're turning the country over to people who don't have families as their best interest, right? Who don't see the nature's future in the family and in the children. That's what he's getting at. And people are clutching their pearls saying, oh, it was such a sexist statement. And yeah, vote childless cat ladies 2024. Come on, people. Come on, people. Then we have this interesting narrative. And I want to talk about this because I see a lot of conservatives saying that, oh, no, this is a self-own, this is wrong. You got it wrong. Your fact checks are wrong. You know what? The fact checkers do what the fact checkers do. The fact checkers twist the narrative, twist the words to mean what they mean, right? Conservatives, we tend to just come out and say what we're talking about. And look, for the most part, liberals do too. But then when they want to get real nitpicky about something, they'll try to fucking lawyer you over dumb shit. And so this next story is lawyering, is nitpicking, the liberals nitpicking and lawyering over what they think a word means. And that's this. We got Harris's border confusion haunts her new campaign. And you have other fact-checking websites. You have Time here. Kamala Harris was never Biden's border czar. Here's what she really did. So you have a lot of conservatives be like, wait a minute. You were the border czar. We have all these other news articles, and I'll bring them up here in a second. You have all these other news articles. Here, I'll show you one here. Biden taps VP Harris to lead response on border challenges, right? You have that. Where did the other article go? I had another article. Well, here we have Vice President Harris's own words here. POTUS asked me to lead our diplomatic work with Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to address the situation at the southern border. We have to address the root causes of migration. It won't be easy work, but it's necessary. And I want to pick apart this tweet here. I want to pick this apart. Because we're going to look here at what Time is claiming. And Axios is claiming it in their article as well. What Time is claiming here. On her first foreign trip as vice president, Kamala Harris was tasked with delivering a blunt message in Guatemala City. I want to be clear to folks that this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border, do not come. Right? We have that. Do I have that clip? I don't have that clip. I don't have that clip handy. Anyway, and then Kamala had one job, Nikki Haley told the crowd. That was to fix the border. Now imagine her in charge of the entire country. And then here's what they say. In fact, Harris was never in charge of the border or immigration policy, nor was she involved in overseeing law enforcement efforts or guiding the federal response to the crisis. Her mandate was much narrower, to focus on examining and improving the underlying conditions in the northern triangle of Central America, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, which has been racked by decades of poverty, war, chronic violence, and political instability. The strategy relied on allocating billions of economic programs and stimulating private sector investment in the region in hopes that these programs would ultimately lead fewer migrants to make the dangerous journey north. Now, here's where I have a problem with the fucking media narrative. Let's go back. Oh, shit. I forgot to share the tab. This is what they were saying. Yeah, I read it to you. Hopefully folks heard, because there it is on screen. Let me go ahead and share the tweet again. Now she says, to address the situation at the southern border, we have to address the root causes of migration. It won't be easy work, but it's necessary. So here's where me as a conservative sees both of these arguments and is like, well, yeah, you're fucking nitpicking. But what Nikki Haley said was that you failed to do your job. Because right here, you list what's success. You set the bar for success in this tweet. If you did your job in Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, they wouldn't be coming here. Right? That's the bar you set. And Time Magazine has a problem with calling it a border czar. And all these fact checkers have a problem calling it a border czar. Oh, because you weren't overseeing Border Patrol, right? Now, don't forget what the Republican narrative was when all of this went down. Was that Joe Biden tasked her with tackling the immigration problem. And she wanted to address it from a standpoint of economic incentives for those 4 countries. But here's the thing. Republicans criticized her for not going to the border, for not looking at the border, for not going to the border crossing. Now, you say it wasn't for enforcement purposes, right? You say this job wasn't an enforcement job. Okay. You still could have went to the border and talked to the immigration agents about the people they're interviewing. You could have talked to the immigrants themselves about what they were fleeing and why. What kind of things would have gave them an incentive to stay in their home nation. But you didn't do those things either. You can say all day long, the mainstream media, you can say all day long that Kamala Harris was never the border czar. But with this tweet, she says we need to address the situation at the southern border. And that her task, her diplomatic task, would have addressed the root causes of migration. If she would have been successful, they would have stopped coming here. Flat out, simple fact of the matter. The fact that we still have people pouring over the border and being flown in by the Harris-Biden administration, or whoever's administration it is. We're going to be hearing from the president later in the show. Maybe he can clarify whose administration it is now. I'm also seeing a lot of narratives, some fake news, some clickbait, the same bullshit tweets claiming that, sources say Trump might drop out of the race next. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. There's no reason to believe that at this time. So we've had a couple days now where we've had several hearings in the House of Representatives about what happened in Pennsylvania, what happened with Secret Service and the local police and their job to protect the President of the United States, and by extension, the crowd that was there to see him, and how they failed to do their job. Now, look, it's been 2 days since the Kim Cheadle, the Secret Service director, got grilled in Congress and then resigned. It's been 2 days since all that went down. I'm sure you folks have seen the videos. If you haven't, feel free to just go on Twitter and type, Kim Cheadle grilled or whatever. There's lots of spicy videos of congressmen and women saying she's shit at her job. She didn't answer a single fucking question with any kind of upfrontness or honesty. She kept saying she was going to wait for the investigation to conclude, this being 9 days after the president was shot. And then yesterday, we had the director of the FBI, Stephen Wray, or was that today? I think it was yesterday. Stephen Wray testifying in front of Congress. And there was some body cam footage released. So there are a lot of questions. Let's see. And we're not going to show the body cam footage because, again, the dead body appears in the body cam footage. But during the body cam footage, you can hear officers talking about how you saw these people, you saw those people, you saw the shooter on the roof, you saw him point his gun at him, you saw them talking, you were able to take pictures, but you didn't stop him, and you didn't warn the president. You didn't try to evacuate. You didn't escalate, because that was the other thing the director of the Secret Service kept saying in that hearing is, there's a difference between suspicious activity and a threat. He was merely reported as suspicious. He wasn't considered a threat yet. Well, okay, at what point does a guy on a roof with a rangefinder and maybe a rifle, because I'm sure that was witnessed pretty soon after witnessing the rangefinder, at what point do you escalate that to a threat and keep the president off the stage? Then he's found with explosives, and then we have all these conflicting reports about whether he had a bicycle or a car or both, and then now whether there was a ladder or not. Now they're saying there wasn't a ladder, because now having a ladder there kind of makes the cops look bad, because the ladder would have been right near the damn window that they were supposed to be watching to protect. Now you have Arizona Congressman Eli Crane. After the Secret Service director said last week that the reason Secret Service agents didn't go up on the roof was because the roof was sloped. I hear you have Eli Crane.
I'm up here on the building where the supposed sniper took his shot. It's not that steep at all. We just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the
70-year-old man climbed up the roof easily.
See that water tower behind me? Had Secret Service or anybody had sniper teams up there, this guy wouldn't have made it 5 feet up this roof. He would have been taken out. Behind me, you see the windows that Secret Service.
Oh yeah, so see you have the windows right there. You could have just watched him the whole time.
We're able to quickly dispatch the individual, and then behind me, back over here where those red roofs are, that's where the stage was set up. That's where the president was giving his speech from.
President was right there.
Questions here in Butler.
I could hit that, and I haven't shot guns in a while.
And getting to the bottom of it, and making sure it never happens again.
Okay, so there we have that. And again, all of these conflicting reports, we'll never know. We will never know what really happened that day. We will never, ever know what happened that day, because they are going to shift and cover up, and they'll come up with the most likely plausible excuse, and it will still sound like complete bullshit. So, honestly, I'm at the point now where they either let it happen or made it happen. There was a complete stand down by police and Secret Service and any marshals or any other law enforcement agency that was there. So, yeah, don't expect the truth anytime soon, folks, because your politicians and your law enforcement are in active cover-up mode. Well, folks, kind of one of the last couple stories we have for the day. Today, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, gave a speech before Congress. And again, it's the same old bullshit. Give us money. Iran's a bad guy. We need to bomb Iran. Give us money. Right? Same old bullshit. But it really drew out the protesters. And Netanyahu said something during his speech that has really made a lot of conservatives crack the fuck up laughing. Now, again, I'm not a supporter of Israel. Countries are countries, and whether or not they have a right to exist means they should defend themselves, right? That's your right to exist. Your right to exist extends on your ability to exist. Now, you can get into the whole democracy in the middle of a desert of whatever, terrorism, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I don't care. Can we keep them out of our country? That's the question. Can we keep the terrorists out of our country? They can have the sand all they want. Keep them out of our country, the terrorists. Anyway, so here's what Netanyahu said that's got the LGBTQ plus MSNLSD community all in an uproar and have conservatives rolling, laughing their ass off because it's the same meme we've been sharing for years, straight from the mouth of the Israeli Prime Minister.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC. These protesters chant from the river to the sea, but many don't have a clue. It's amazing.
Okay, I want to point out here, you see Rashida Tlaib right here? This is Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Second 86, in some ways, nuking Iran would be cleaning up the CIA's mess. Yes, it would be. Because, we're responsible for all the dumb shit that happened there. But anyway, you see Rashida Tlaib here. She's holding up a sign. I think that this side of the sign says something about genocide. Guilty of genocide, I think is what it said. But the other side of the sign is also funny. And we're going to look at that real quick. Where did it go? Oh no. Here we go. Here's the other side of the sign. War criminal. She brought a little sign that said war criminal. And so obviously conservatives are mocking her for bringing this sign here to a speech on the House floor, for trying to make a political statement during someone else's political statement. There are lots of funny memes. I saw one where it looked like she was holding a ping pong paddle at a ping pong. It was great. It's great. Funny stuff. Gotta love it. But Rashida Tlaib wasn't the only one in opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu. Apparently last night at the Watergate Hotel, the Israeli delegation was supposed to be having dinner. And protesters got into the Watergate Hotel and dumped maggots and mealworms and crickets all over the table that the Israeli delegations was supposed to eat, and they kind of made their way around the hotel. Palestinian protesters also managed to pay a visit to Columbus Circle. And managed to graffiti up the Columbus Circle Liberty Bell with Palestinian liberation propaganda. and spray painted all of the statues. And Single 86 says, "Wonder if that's the paddle Jill uses on Joe." No, she doesn't have to use a paddle on him. All she has to do is say that he can't shower with Ashley. That's how she disciplines him. And so then today we had a huge pro-Palestine protest making its way through Washington, D.C. toward the Capitol building until police managed to get control of the situation. Deploying bear spray, anti-riot stuff. You got these perfect, physically fit specimens here facing the effects of the pepper spray. So then after the protest was stopped from reaching the Capitol, then they decided to go toward Union Station in Washington, D.C. Let me go ahead and share this tab where we have folks marching, and you see a Hamas flag. Celebrating Hamas on the streets of Washington, D.C., flying these flags. And look, I said it on my Twitter, and I'm going to repeat it here. Folks, how about instead of flying Palestinian flags or Israeli flags, can we get back to flying the United States flag? Well, no, according to these protesters. Because at Union Station, and I didn't bring that up, but here, let me. At Union Station, they brought down the American flags at Union Station.
No, that's them. That's not us.
Maybe that's what they burned the first time.
And they put up Palestinian flags, and they set them on fire. They set the American flags on fire. Burn that shit. While playing Funky Town, apparently. Yeah, gotta love the copyright claim I'm going to get on that. Allahu Akbar. Okay. And then here's a photo from Senator Tuberville of Alabama. Was able to take from his office window of the Palestinian flags flying over Washington, D.C. Now look, I'm not a flag worshiper, but I do think if you're going to be in the United States, you should be flying the United States flag. You shouldn't be flying a Palestinian flag. Look, fly a flag. Like, if you're a Metallica fan, fly a Metallica flag. If you're a Batman fan, fly a Batman flag. But if you're going to fly the flag of a region, of a nation, of a heritage, then you should do it of the country you belong to. Now, I'm very careful with my wording on that, because I truly believe that some of these people think that they would be more free as Palestinians. I mean, aside from the whole "we think Israel is genociding our people" thing, but I truly think these people would rather be living in a state ran by Hamas. These people hate America. They hate everything our melting pot has allowed them to become. So yeah, to go back to what Netanyahu was saying, chickens for KFC. Because they don't want to they don't want to be free range chickens, right? They want to be fed and farmed. They want to live fat on the hog, and then they want to be slaughtered. Oh, folks. Oh, man. A couple things that I really didn't want to talk about. Just other things that have been kind of buzzing my feed. A lot of people talking about the Boogie 2988 situation. How he defrauded people out of money by saying he had cancer. And shout out to Camelot 331 for his extensive coverage of the Boogie 2988 situation. I'm not really going to cover that here. But also a lot of people are covering the Mr. Beast's his buddy Ava Chris and the fallout of this being revealed that Chris had been inappropriately messaging young boys years before coming out as transgender. Oh God! Now they're saying the Biden address isn't going to happen till 7:30. Oh shit! I don't know what to do. I don't have enough content to fill another 40 minutes. Let's do this. Let's go to Karine Jean-Pierre, right? Because there was let's see. There were a number of videos of Karine Jean-Pierre today on Twitter. Let me go ahead and bring some of them up. Da-da-da. Okay, so here we go. Asked about the border crisis. This is her answer.
Party now. Does she still want to get rid of ICE?
You have seen what this administration has been able to do in the past 3.5 years, and they did that with the vice president as a partner in that. And
Singlet says I assaulted Crowder. How did I assault Crowder? I mean, yeah, Crowder's doing his own stream on President Biden's speech tonight. I did see that, but yeah, other than that, I don't know what I could have done to Crowder.
And Republicans got in the way, as we did that
There you go.
with.
We had a bipartisan bill, but Republicans got in the way.
And Republicans got in the way. The president went around Republicans and was able to get thousands of personnel at the border. And now we are seeing a 50% drop at the border. And that's because of what this president has
Oh my
done.
God, the lies. Oh my God, the lies. Okay, so the personnel at the border, right? Remember what Donald Trump said. You don't need a bill. You can do it by executive order. You can just make it happen. And she's talking about personnel at the border. That personnel at the border. Now, remember, these people like to fuck with words. Never dark carrot top. Great, man. Great. Remember how they like to play with words. She said fucking personnel. She didn't say border guards. She didn't say security. Personnel at the border. We're talking pencil pushers. We're talking about people typing on their keyboards. We're not talking about border guards. We're talking about give me your name, here, come to this court date 9 years from now. We're talking about processing. We're not talking about border security. And when she says the crossings at the border have decreased, again, she's very careful with her words because they're not crossing the border now. They're being flown in by this administration.
So she's been in charge of root causes of migration for years. She has never spoken to the Border Patrol Chief, Jason Owens, or the Border Patrol Chief before him, Raul Ortiz. What should that tell us about her leadership style?
She was supposed to be doing root causes, dealing with diplomacy.
And that's
Diplomacy.
not
Wait,
involved with
diplomacy. That's what her job was supposed to be. Diplomatic. That's the job. And
Okay. Oh my God. So yeah, back to what I was saying earlier in the stream. It doesn't matter if this is the problem with fucking politicians, right? This is the problem with politics in general, right? Root causes. You want to talk about root causes? The root causes come from Washington. The root causes come from Mexico City. They come from the politicians. And if you ask the people on the streets what the problems are, chances are you would get a real answer. But just like we just covered with the Secret Service failures in Pennsylvania last weekend, politicians are going to say whatever they need to cover up, get more money, and get away with the murder and crime and the let's go ask the dictators what the dictators need to stop sending refugees to our country. Instead of asking the migrants who are allegedly running from them. And I say allegedly because, again, you could tell me all the reasons in the world why we have a border crisis, and I don't believe it's all just asylum seekers running from dangerous cartels. Like, there's a number of that, and yeah, conditions in those countries are really poor because of it. But the solutions, the root causes, these are things you could learn by talking to the people, not the politicians. So when you want to talk about diplomacy, how about being diplomatic with the peoples of the world?
I understand that you're asking
Be a fucking
these
populist.
questions, but we should also look at congressional Republicans who got in the way.
Got in the
Literally
way.
got in the way of everything that this president was trying to do
Yes.
to deal with the border. They got in the way.
Legitimately, yes,
They
because
would
you were
say
doing
one
it
thing
wrong.
and then they would change their mind. They would say, "We want border patrol. We want, we want a deal on what's happening at the border," and then they would walk away from it. And they did it because of what the former president said. You guys reported that. I didn't. That's not coming from me. Some of your
Oh
colleagues
yeah,
reported
blame
that
the
The
media.
former president said, "Let's not move forward with this proposal because it's going to help Joe Biden."
No,
I mean,
no,
that's
that's
also
not
the
what he
reality. You gotta
said. He
talk
said
about
it's not
both
going to
sides
secure
here.
the border, and it's a fucking
Yeah,
payoff.
Great.
It was going to be a payoff for Ukraine. Okay, so there's that. There were more videos. God damn it. You see here. Let's see if it's in the top here. Oh my God. Yeah, and of course we're not going to. February. I'm getting old shit. Damn it. I swear to God, it was all over my feed earlier. And now I can't find any of it. I should have bookmarked it. but I wasn't planning on getting into a lot of this on the stream tonight. Oh, what do we have here? Hang on. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here we got Peter Ducey.
And was slipping, and it was hidden.
Hang on.
It would seem that people in this White House knew that President Biden was slipping, and it was hidden from the American people. So who ordered White House officials to cover up a declining president?
I know that is a narrative that you love, and
Well,
to
when he
no,
goes
no, no, no,
in
wait.
10 days, I did a press conference
Hold
at NATO. I'm in it. There's all these things that I
Hold
need to finish, and then 10 days later, I'm dropping out.
Okay, wait, okay, you're asking me like multiple questions here. Let me wait.
Yeah,
First
they're
of all,
two
there's been no
different
cover-up.
things.
Want to be very clear about that. I know that's the narrative that you all want. Wait, no, you can't.
Well,
Okay.
I've been with President Biden for 5
Are
years.
you going to let me answer the question?
Would you at least admit that the debate was not just a bad night?
Wait. Can I answer the question?
Yes.
All right. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. To your first question, it is not a cover-up. I know that is the narrative that you all want. It is not. I'm going to say this again.
Wow.
And you're going to hear
Then
directly
why?
from the president.
Then
I hope you
why?
listen tonight. I think it's
Okay, so your people, Democrats, your people, we've been seeing the news reports, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, all these people getting behind Biden stepping down and then getting behind Harris once he allegedly stepped down. If there's no narrative where Biden has been declining, where Biden's not the guy, it's your people. We've been saying it for 5 years. We've been saying he was out of his fucking mind a long time ago, that he could barely speak, he could barely walk. But it was when your people jumped on the narrative that all of a sudden the White House is fractured and in disarray. That all of a sudden the chess pieces are moving on the board. So you want to blame the press and conservatives for creating a narrative that doesn't exist. It's your people. It's your people.
going to be incredibly powerful and important. The Oval Office, presidents, as you know, when they make speeches from the Oval Office, it's because there are important moments that they want to directly make sure that the American people hear from them. And it's obviously going to be done in prime time. I would listen to the president. And then what I will say is that it is not easy making a decision that the...
Hang on.
I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about...
I'm going to go back.
Moment there in the Oval Office decision. Here
we go.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice.
Okay.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah, says the guy who's been angry at his predecessor for 4 years.
I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think is more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union.
What's up with his hair?
It's not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. We can never forget that. And I never have.
What the fuck?
I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come.
Okay.
America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect?
Are you saying you're not those things? What? What are you saying? You're saying things without saying anything.
Those we disagree with, not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that?
Oh, almost
Does
said
character
friends, but
and
no.
Public life still matter. I believe you know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people, and I know this: we are a great nation because we are good people. When you elected me to this office,
okay,
I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth.
Okay, but you
the
haven't.
Truth. The sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause cherish it so much.
Okay, what are you saying?
American democracy itself must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future.
Yeah, that's
merited a second
yes.
term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
Okay.
You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families.
Oh, God, here we go.
I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights.
Look.
From the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America.
This is definitely a concession speech of some sort.
Period.
This is one of the weirdest speeches I've ever heard.
To protect our kids from gun violence.
Because this is an admission that
our planet from climate crisis is.
I can't do any of these things.
And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot, so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy. Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong, secure, and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine.
We're not at war anywhere in the world except these other areas where we're providing military support.
Make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working.
Yeah, because you extended the tariffs that Trump imposed on China.
In the Middle East and end this war.
What the fuck?
We're also working around the clock to bring home
Americans them even
unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. We came together as Americans.
Democracy, democracy, democracy. Listen to this motherfucker.
Stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the
Notice how everything is democracy except voting for a candidate in the primary.
Urban, rural, tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, violent crime
no
rate
gun
is at
safety
a
law in 30
15-year
years,
low.
even though Trump tried to ban
We're also securing our
guns,
border.
bump stocks.
Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office.
I mean, I
I've
don't
kept my
agree with it,
commitment
but he did
to
it.
appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment
Oh yeah,
to have an
DEI,
administration that looks like America
DEI.
and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army. bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant.
your vice
Most
president's
powerful idea in the
supporters are
history of the
burning
world.
down
That idea
the
is
flag
that
of
we
the
hold these
America,
truths to be self-evident.
America you're talking about.
We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it.
Well, yeah, because people like
We've never
you
walked away from it either.
aren't pro-life,
And I do not believe the
aren't
American people will walk
pro-liberty,
away
and
from it
aren't
now.
pro-pursuit of happiness.
In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President Kamala Harris.
He looks like he's fucking
She's
terrified.
experienced, she's tough,
He does.
she's
He
capable.
looks like he's fucking terrified.
She's been an
Like,
incredible
okay, now
partner
it's
to
time
me
to say the words I have
and
to
leader
say
for
in
our
order for
country.
my children not to die.
Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it.
Yeah, but all your
Republic,
supporters want to
if
destroy
you
the
can
republic and institute
Whether
communism.
we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could
Collectivism.
a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk
Scranton,
in the Oval Office
take a
of the
drink.
President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things.
And you want to tax them for it.
I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people.
And cocaine for your
I
son.
hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands.
Then let them vote
The
for
idea of
it.
America lies in your hands. You just have to keep faith, keep the faith. And remember who we are. We're the United States of America. And there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together. Preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
All right.
All right. That was Joseph Robinette Biden officially dropping out of the 2024 race and saying he's passing the torch to a new generation. This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, literally, all the things he said were fucking platitudes. He said, I did this, I did that. All the things he was saying were propaganda, twisting what he really did. And then he talked about legacy and doing the right thing for the next generation. That's the one thing that stands out in my mind. Because that was his excuse. When we know that if democracy meant as much to the Democrat Party as they claim it does, with all of these things, with a woman's right to choose, that's democracy. With the Supreme Court having ethics, that's democracy somehow. With all of these things, oh yeah, they're just democracy. But being able to have a primary election where you have to face the best of the best, where you have to earn delegates by going out and talking to the American people in order to get on that ballot in November. Remember, we had states like Florida that just outright canceled the Democrat primary. They did everything they could to keep Bobby Kennedy off of the Democrat ballots before he decided to run as an independent. And now you're going to come out and preach about democracy while denying the American people the chance for a primary. Now, granted, we are going to have the Democrat National Convention coming up. Kamala Harris is the presumed nominee, but that may change depending on who the delegates vote for. Now, mind you, delegates are usually selected out of slates of people who voted in primaries and in caucuses nationwide and selected in sort of an electoral representative republic process sent by state parties to the national convention to represent the state's interest in the national election. And those people's votes are supposed to represent the voters of the states. Now, granted, over the past several decades, the party has then selected their own super delegates of influential politicians and pundits, media figures, think tank heads, who also get additional votes at the party conventions. This creates issues. But for the most part, the person who the parties send to the November ballot is supposed to come from the voice of the American people over a series of primary elections. The fact that the Democrat Party has just bypassed that for all of these months and said, no, we don't need primaries. We have our guy. And now we, the American people, have watched that guy say, no, actually, I'm not that guy. Well, the right thing to do then would be to suspend the election, send it back to the states, and restart the primary process. Now, the problem is each one of these states have different rules for how ballot access works. We do know, Georgia, Wisconsin, and there's another state. Those deadlines have passed. Those deadlines are gone. Joe Biden allegedly is going to be on the ballots in those states. But he won't be president of the United States again. Not after January. Now, he says he's now recommitted himself to being president of the United States. And, he kind of See, I need to watch Van Jones's follow-up later. It's Olympic level lying. Okay. We may have to bring that up on the Saturday show. But let me just start wrapping this down here by saying that we literally just watched a coup. He says he's now committed to spending the next few months being president of the United States. But if your own party doesn't have faith in you for 4 more years, why should we have faith in you for 6 more months? Is this a compromise to avoid a 25th Amendment challenge to your presidency? Was this a compromise to keep yourself in office? Right? Or as I mentioned earlier, was this a compromise to keep your wife and children safe? Safe from scrutiny? Safe from the deep state? Somebody in this administration or in the Democrat Party is literally so terrified of Donald J. Trump that we've seen an entire establishment of our government media apparatus pivot in the last 2 weeks, really the last 3 weeks since the debate. But really the last 2 weeks hardcore. We've seen a pivot. We've seen these leaders terrified. We saw a shot taken at Donald Trump, his life threatened. And when that didn't work, it almost feels like then they decided to threaten this guy instead. I don't like to get too conspiratorial, but what the fuck? There's something up here. The pivot, the sudden pivot from, oh, he's a very capable old man, you know, he's got it, and he's in it to win it, and he's going to beat Donald Trump. To, oh my God, pass it on to the next generation. The next generation's got this. Wait, what? And just shitting all over our primary process in the meantime. It's very disrespectful to the American people. And I want you folks to just stick with that. Hold that dear. Don't let them twist the narrative into, oh, look how good Kamala is, and Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris. No. It doesn't matter how, like, this is my appeal to liberals out there. As much as you might like Kamala Harris, understand, I'm sure a lot of you like Bernie Sanders. A lot of you like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There would have been a number of candidates you could have put up that you would have liked better. You could have went into a voting booth and said, no, Democrat Party, I don't like Kamala Harris. I like this person. I like Bobby Kennedy Jr. You were denied that right by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, by the Democrat establishment. Just like so many of you probably wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders in 2016. And we know we have the DNC leaked emails thanks to WikiLeaks, thanks to Julian Assange, that they conspired against rigging the election against good old Bernie Sanders. So the party that likes to preach about democracy don't care about your vote. And they have now, pretty much in 3 straight presidential elections, denied you the right to vote for who you wanted to vote for because they wanted to put another establishment candidate right into that seat. You've already lived through 4 years of Donald J. Trump. Do you want to live through 4 years of people who would undermine everything we hold dear about our election process? Now, forget what they say about January 6th. They could talk about January 6th being the biggest threat to democracy, whatever. Ultimately, those people walked out of the building. The confirmation happened. Joe Biden became our president. You lived through that. The people who are in charge now of making these decisions behind the scenes in the Democrat Party, whether it be the Obamas, the Clintons, the Soros clan, whoever caused that pivot of Joe Biden's the best ever to, well, you got to go, old man. Whoever caused that pivot, you should be far more afraid of them than some hairy dude wearing a horned hat walking through the Capitol with an American flag. And with that, by the way, cheers to Jacob Chansley, man. Cheers. And what the hell? Cheers to the rest of the non-violent J6ers. Sanglin says DNC always the party of slavers. All right. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna wrap up for the night. Go eat myself some sausage and potatoes and peppers and onions roasted, because my lady loves me enough to make my favorite meal on the nights when I stream. So, really appreciative of her and of that. Really appreciative of all of you out there who've showed up, joined me for this stream, and who are willing to click that thumbs up button. Please like the stream if you like the stream. Feel free to leave a thumbs down if you don't, but please don't. If you're new here, please consider following. Please also consider sharing this off platform. And if you're new here, please consider watching another video. Really helps with the algorithm. Those 3 things, those 4 things really help tons with the algorithm. Helps me get seen by new eyes, new faces. That's what we need here at Miles Culture Plate. Definitely like to grow the audience, because like Sangland86, seeing Sangland86 saying funny things in the chat definitely helps me bounce things around. Definitely keeps the show entertaining. So I would definitely like to grow the audience, and those things help a ton. Oh my God, I just realized I fucked up. I probably could have brought more people in, but I forgot to set the tags. I forgot the tags. Sangland86 says, I might want to grab some Gatorade. No, I'm not drunk. I might be stumbling a little bit, but I'm not drunk. I've only had the one drink. If that's what you're insinuating about the Gatorade. No, and I don't drink Gatorade. I've been really, really working hard at avoiding the high fructose corn syrup and the sugar. Now, about once a week, I'll have a sugary beverage. And about twice a week, I'll have some sort of dessert or candy bar. But for the most part, I try to avoid the sugar. So Gatorade's kind of off the table. I drink a lot of water. I drink like 4 of these a day. So, yeah. All right. Anyway, so that's the show for tonight. Feel free to join me this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, same bat time, same bat channel, wherever you're watching me right now. I'll be live this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central. We'll talk about the trending news from the next few days. We'll be doing the Love Does Admonish. We'll be doing other segments that are popular here on the show. And we'll be talking about media narratives probably then as well. So don't let them lie to you. All right, folks, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. I'll catch you next time. Too much water will dehydrate you. Gotcha. All right, catch you next time on Miles Culture Plate. Y'all have a good rest of your week. See you Saturday. Peace.